Hey everybody, the Crazy Video Game Wizard here, or should I say, Crazy Gamer Historian 1999, and it's been a while. And today, this Monday, we're going to be looking at a Spider-Man story, well, talking about it, and it's called Kraven's Last Hunt. This one came out at a time when comics became more than just for kids, when superhero comics became darker, we're starting to tell more mature stories, and we got the likes of Watchmen and Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. Kraven's Last Hunt is interesting. The pitch started as a Batman Joker story, then evolved into a Batman Hugo Strange story, and eventually it became a Spider-Man story. Yeah, pretty wild, huh? So, what's it about? Alright, elevator pitch. Kraven wants to prove to Spider-Man that he's superior, so he quote unquote kills him and then takes up his costume. And at the time, Spider-Man's wearing the black outfit, and this is before Venom comes into the picture. And the story was done in the 1980s. Yeah, during the time of when we got Watchmen and Batman returning to his darker roots, and when we got The Dark Knight Returns. And speaking of The Dark Knight Returns, I actually talked about that during college. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, Spider-Man doesn't actually die. He gets drugged and buried in a grave, and, well, after 2 weeks, he breaks free and has to deal with Kraven. Oh, and there's another villain that's involved in the story, Vermin. Also, fun fact, Vermin was a Captain America villain, but then, well, Vermin appeared in this Spider-Man story. And speaking of Spider-Man, Spider-Man helped Captain America fight Vermin in the story where Captain America fought Vermin. Isn't that pretty coolio? And the comic got a literature novelization years later, novelization by Neil Cleed. And I was reading that when I got this comic for Christmas. Yeah, so here's an interesting difference. In the comic, Spider-Man is married to Mary Jane, but the novelization has Spider-Man and Mary Jane not be married until they're boyfriend and girlfriend. This is due to the fact that at the time when the novelization was written, fans had gotten one more day where Spider-Man made a deal with Mephisto to save Mary Jane, I mean, not Mary Jane, Aunt May, but it came at the cost of Peter and MJ's marriage. Yeah, that one is really off the walls, but then again, this is Marvel we're talking about. Well, this is a Spider-Man story. Kraven is the focus. So let me show you some scenes from the comic. Hold on. All right, so going to the beginning. Hang on. All right, here. As we start, we see Kraven in the nude, and he's fighting fake animals. Thy beast, my mind is rage and glory. My heart is fire and pride. My body is grace and power. I am Kravenoff, the man. An old man now, though few would believe it. Just a child when the parents came to this country shortly after the overthrow of the Tsar some 70-odd years ago. And this was written during the Cold War, the height of the Cold War, when tensions between America and the Soviet Union could have escalated a nuclear war at any time. But then again, the 80s was a good time for pop culture. Don't need to say wild all the time. And this one is acclaimed as the best Spider-Man story. And I will admit, it is very, very good. And Spider-Man in the end does overcome the challenge he faces. He gets out of the ground, he kind of deals with Kraven and manages to deal with Vermin and gets back to his wife, or in the case of the novelization, his girlfriend, Mary Jane, and everything's fine. Kraven, he goes kablooey. I don't need to say any further. And if you want to know what actually happens to Kraven, how he dies, read the book novelization and the comic. But be warned, this story is really dark, and Kraven's death is pretty disturbing. My honest score for this one is a 9 out of 10. This one gets a 9. This one gets a 9. Both versions of the story are really, really good. And the novelization does expand on things. Like, for example, it shows a funeral for Ned Leeds, who died prior to Kraven's Last Hunt, while the comic does not show the funeral. Anyways, I suppose I'll let y'all go now, and I'll talk to you later.